Leviticus 24. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Instruct the sons of Israel, so that they may bring to you clear oil from the purest olives, in order to supply the lamps continuously. Outside the veil of the testimony in the tabernacle of the covenant. And Aaron shall place these, from evening until morning, before the Lord, as a perpetual worship and ritual in your generations. They shall be placed upon the most pure candlestick in the sight of the Lord always. You shall also receive fine wheat flour, and you shall bake 12 loaves from it, each loaf of which shall have 2 tens. And you shall arrange them, 6 on each side, upon the most pure table before the Lord. And you shall place upon them the clearest frankincense, so that the bread may be a memorial of oblation for the Lord. On each Sabbath, they shall be changed before the Lord, having been received from the sons of Israel as an everlasting covenant. And they shall be for Aaron and his sons, so that they may eat these in the holy place, for it is the Holy of Holies from the sacrifices of the Lord, as a perpetual rite. Then, behold, the son of an Israelite woman, whom she had borne of an Egyptian man among the sons of Israel, going out, was quarreling in the camp with a man of Israel. And when he had blasphemed the name, and had cursed it, he was led to Moses. And they sent him to prison, until they might know what the Lord would command. Who spoke to Moses, saying, Lead away the blasphemer beyond the camp, and let all who heard him place their hands upon his head, and let the entire people stone him. And you shall say to the sons of Israel, The man who curses his God shall bear his sin. And whoever will have blasphemed the name of the Lord shall be put to death. The entire multitude shall overwhelm him with stones, whether he be a citizen or a sojourner. Whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall be put to death. Whoever will have struck and killed a man shall be put to death. Whoever will have struck down an animal shall repay its equivalent, that is, a life for a life. Whoever will have inflicted a blemish on any of his citizens, just as he has done, so shall it be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, shall he repay. Whatever degree of blemish he has inflicted, so shall he be compelled to suffer. Whoever strikes down a beast, shall repay another. Whoever strikes a man shall be punished. Let there be equal judgment among you, whether it is a sojourner or a citizen who will have sinned. For I am the Lord your God. And Moses spoke to the sons of Israel. And they led away him who had blasphemed, beyond the camp, and they overwhelmed him with stones. And the sons of Israel did just as the Lord had instructed Moses. Leviticus 25. And the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, When you will have entered into the land which I will give to you, rest on the Sabbath of the Lord. For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall care for your vineyard, and you shall gather its fruits. But in the 7th year, there shall be a Sabbath of the land, a resting of the Lord. You shall not sow your field, and you shall not care for your vineyard. What the soil shall spontaneously produce, you shall not harvest. And you shall not gather the grapes of the first fruits as a crop. For it is a year of rest for the land. But these shall be yours for food, for you and for your men and women servants, and for your hired hands, and for the newcomers who sojourn with you. All that grows on its own shall provide food for your beasts and cattle. You shall also number for yourselves 7 weeks of years, that is, 7 times 7, which together makes 49 years. And you shall sound the trumpet in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, at the time of the atonement, throughout all your land. And you shall sanctify the 50th year, and you shall proclaim a remission for all the inhabitants of your land, for the same is the Jubilee. A man shall return to his possession, and each one shall go back to his original family. For it is the Jubilee and the 50th year. You shall not sow, and you shall not reap what grows in the field of its own accord, and you shall not gather the first fruits of the crop, due to the sanctification of the Jubilee. But you shall eat them as they present themselves. In the year of the Jubilee, all shall return to their possessions. When you will sell anything to your fellow citizen, or buy anything from him, do not cause your brother grief, but buy from him according to the number of years from the Jubilee. And he shall sell to you according to the computation of the produce. The more years that will remain after the Jubilee, the more the price shall increase, and the less the time is numbered, so much less shall the purchase price be. For he will sell to you the time for the produce. Do be willing to afflict your countrymen, but let each one fear his God. For I am the Lord your God. Accomplish my precepts, and observe my judgments, and complete them, so that you may be able to live in the land without any fear. And so that the soil may produce its fruits for you, from which you may eat, even to fullness, dreading violence by no one. But if you will say, what shall we eat in the 7th year, if we do not sow and do not gather our produce? I will give my blessing to you in the 6th year, and it shall yield the produce of 3 years. And in the 8th year you shall sow, but you shall eat from the old produce, until the 9th year, until what is new matures, you shall eat what is old. Also, the land shall not be sold in perpetuity, for it is mine, and you are newcomers and settlers to me. Therefore, every region of your possession shall be sold under the condition of redemption. If your brother, being in need, will have sold his little possession and his close relative is willing, he is able to redeem what he had sold. But if he has no near relative, and he himself is able to find the price to redeem it, the produce shall be calculated from that time when he sold it. And what is lacking, he shall repay to the buyer, and so he shall receive his possession. But if his hand will not have discovered a way to repay the price, the buyer shall have what he bought, until the year of the Jubilee. For in that year all that has been sold shall return to the owner, and to the original possessor. Whoever will have sold a house within the walls of a city shall have the freedom to redeem it, until 1 year has been completed. If he has not redeemed it, and the year will have turned full circle, the buyer and his posterity shall possess it, in perpetuity, and it is not able to be redeemed, even in the Jubilee. But if the house is in a village, which has no walls, it shall be sold by the law of the fields. If it has not been redeemed beforehand, then in the Jubilee it shall return to the owner. The buildings of the Levites, which are in the cities, are always able to be redeemed. If they have not been redeemed, then in the Jubilee they shall return to the owners, for the houses of the cities of the Levites are for their possession among the sons of Israel. But let not their suburbs be sold, for it is an everlasting possession. If your brother has become impoverished, or infirm of hand, and you take him in, like a newcomer or a sojourner, and he lives with you, do not accept usury from him, nor anything more than what you gave. Fear your God, so that your brother may be able to live with you. You shall not give him your money by usury, nor exact from him an overabundance of produce. I am the Lord your God, who led you away from the land of Egypt, so that I might give to you the land of Canaan, and so that I may be your God. If your brother, having been compelled by poverty, will have sold himself to you, you shall not oppress him with the servitude of indentured servants. But he shall be like a hired hand or a settler, he shall work with you, until the year of the Jubilee. And after that, he shall depart with his children, and he shall return to his kindred, to the possession of his fathers. For these are my servants, and I led them away from the land of Egypt, let them not be sold into the condition of servitude. Do not afflict him by power, but be fearful of your God. Let your male and female servants be from the nations which are all around you, and from the newcomers who sojourn with you, or who have been born from them in your land. These you shall have as servants. And, by the right of inheritance, you shall transmit them to your posterity, and you shall possess them forever. But do not oppress your brothers, the sons of Israel, by power. If the hand of a newcomer or a sojourner will have grown strong among you, and your brother, having become impoverished, will have sold himself to him, or to any of his stock. After the sale, he is able to be redeemed. Whoever is willing among his brothers shall redeem him. Either the paternal uncle, or the paternal uncle's son, or his close relative, by blood or by affinity. But if he himself will be able also, he shall redeem himself. Considering only the years from the time of his selling until the year of the Jubilee, and calculating the money for which he was sold, according to the number of years and the accounting of a hired hand. If there will have been many years which remain until the Jubilee, according to these shall he also repay the price. If few, he shall determine the accounting with him according to the number of years, and he shall repay to the buyer by what is left remaining of the years. His wages being charged by what served before. He shall not afflict him violently in your sight. But if, by these means, he will not be able to be redeemed, then in the year of the Jubilee he shall depart with his children. For they are my servants, the sons of Israel, whom I led away from the land of Egypt. Leviticus 26. I am the Lord your God. You shall not make for yourselves an idol or a graven image. Neither shall you erect a monument, or set up a conspicuous stone in your land, in order that you may adore it. For I am the Lord your God. Observe my Sabbaths, and be fearful toward my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If you will walk in my precepts, and observe my commandments, and accomplish them, I will give to you rain in its time. And the ground shall bring forth its seedlings, and the trees shall be filled again with fruit. The threshing of the harvest shall last until the vintage, and the vintage shall overtake the sowing. And you shall eat your bread to fullness, and you shall live in your land without fear. I will give peace to your most distant regions. You will sleep, and there will be no one to strike you with terror. I will take away harmful wild beasts, and the sword will not cross your borders. You will pursue your enemies, and they will fall down at the side of you. 5 of yours will pursue 100 foreigners, and 100 of you will pursue 10,000. Your enemies will fall by the sword in your sight. I will look with favor upon you, and I will cause you to increase, you will be multiplied, and I will confirm my covenant with you. You will eat the oldest of what is old, and, when what is new arrives, you will throw away what is old. I will set my tabernacle in your midst, and my soul will not cast you out. I will walk among you, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. I am the Lord your God, who led you away from the land of the Egyptians, lest you serve them, and who broke the chains around your necks, so that you would walk upright. But if you will not listen to me, nor accomplish all of my commandments, if you despise my laws, and disdain my judgments, so that you do not accomplish those things which have been established by me, and so that you lead my covenant away into nullification, then I also will do these things to you. I will quickly visit you with destitution, and burning heat, which will waste away your eyes, and consume your lives. In vain will you sow your seed, which will be devoured by your enemies. I will set my face against you, and you will fall down before your enemies, and you will be subjugated to those who hate you. You will flee, though no one pursues. But if you will not be obedient to me in this way, then I will add 7-fold to your chastisement, because of your sins. And I will crush the pride in your hardness, and I will give to you heaven above like iron, and the earth below like brass. Your labor will be consumed to no purpose, the land will not bring forth seedlings, nor will the trees provide their fruit. If you walk as an adversary to me, and if you are not willing to listen to me, I will add 7-fold to your plagues, because of your sins. And I will send upon you the wild beasts of the field, which will consume you and your cattle, and which will reduce everything to paucity, and cause your roadways to become desolate. But if you are not willing to receive discipline in this way, and you still walk as an adversary to me. Likewise, I will advance against you as an adversary, and I will strike you 7 times, because of your sins. And I will lead over you the sword that shall avenge my covenant. And when you will have fled into the cities, I will send a pestilence into your midst, and you will be delivered into the hands of your enemies. After this, I will have broken the staff of your bread, so that 10 women bake bread in one oven, and distribute it by weight. And you shall eat and not be filled. Then, if you will not listen to me through these things, and you still walk against me, then I also will advance against you, with an opposing fury, and I will chastise you with 7 plagues, because of your sins. So much so that you will eat the flesh of your sons and your daughters. I will destroy your high places, and I will break apart your false images. You will fall among the ruins of your idols, and my soul will abominate you. So much so that I will reduce your cities to a wilderness, and I will make your sanctuaries desolate, and I will no longer accept the most sweet odors. And I will utterly ruin your land, and your enemies shall be stupefied at it, when they will have become its inhabitants. Then I will scatter you among the Gentiles, and I will unsheathe the sword after you. And your land will be deserted, and your cities will be demolished. Then the land will be pleased by her Sabbaths, throughout all the days of her solitude. So, while you will be in the land of the enemy, she will worship and rest in the Sabbath of her solitude, because she will not have rested in your Sabbaths, when you lived in her. And whoever of you will remain, I will send terror into their hearts in the regions of their enemies. The sound of the flying leaf will terrify them, and so they will flee, as if from the sword. They will fall, though no one pursues. And they will each fall upon their brothers, as if they were fleeing from wars. No one among you will dare to resist your foes. You will perish among the Gentiles, and the land of the enemy will consume you. But if some few of these still remain, they shall waste away in their iniquities, in the land of their enemies, and they will be afflicted, because of the sins of their fathers and their own sins. Until they confess their iniquities, and those of their ancestors, by which they have transgressed against me and walked as adversaries to me. Therefore, I also will walk against them, and I will lead them into a hostile land, until their uncircumcised mind shall be ashamed. Then shall they pray on behalf of their impiety. And I will remember my covenant, which I formed with Jacob, and Isaac, and Abraham. I will also remember the land, which, when she will be left behind by them, shall be pleased by her Sabbaths, enduring solitude because of them. Yet truly, they shall pray for their sins, because they cast aside my judgments, and they despised my laws. And even after so much, when they were in the land of their enemy, I did not cast them off entirely, and I did not so despise them that they would be consumed, nor so that I would nullify my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. And I will remember my original covenant, when I led them away from the land of Egypt, in the sight of the Gentiles, so as to be their God. I am the Lord. These are the judgments, and precepts, and laws, which the Lord has granted between himself and the sons of Israel, on Mount Sinai, by the hand of Moses. Leviticus 27. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, The man who will have made a vow and espoused his soul to God shall give the price according to the estimation. If it is a male from 20 years to 60 years, he shall give 50 shekels of silver, by the measure of the sanctuary. If it is a woman, 30. But from the 5th year until the 20th, a male shall give 20 shekels, a female, 10. From 1 month until the 5th year, for a male, 5 shekels shall be given, for a female, 3. At 60 years and beyond, a male shall give 15 shekels, a female, 10. If he is poor, and he does not have the means to pay the estimation, he shall stand before the priest, and however much he will value him and see that he is able to pay, so much shall he give. But an animal which could be immolated to the Lord, if anyone has vowed it, shall be holy. And it cannot be exchanged, that is, neither better for worse, nor worse for better. And if he has exchanged it, both that which was exchanged, and that for which it was exchanged shall be consecrated to the Lord. An unclean animal which could not be sacrificed to the Lord, if anyone has vowed it, shall be led before the priest, who, judging whether it is either good or bad, shall set the price. But if he who offers it was willing to give, he shall add a fifth part above the estimation. If a man has vowed his house, and he has sanctified it to the Lord, the priest shall examine it, whether it is good or bad, and it shall be sold according to the price which he will have established. But if he who vowed it was willing to redeem it, he shall give a fifth part beyond the estimation, and he shall have the house. But if he has vowed a field of his possession, and has consecrated it to the Lord, the price shall be estimated according to the measure of the seed. If the land would be sown with 30 measures of barley, then let it be sold for 50 shekels of silver. If he has vowed his field beginning from the current year of Jubilee, as much as it may be worth, so shall it be estimated. But if, after some amount of time, the priest shall evaluate the money according to the number of years that remain until the Jubilee, then the price shall be reduced. But if he who had vowed it was willing to redeem his field, he shall add a fifth part of the money to the estimation, and then he shall possess it. But if he is not willing to redeem it, then it shall be sold to any other. He who vowed it is no longer able to redeem it. For when the day of Jubilee arrives, it shall be sanctified to the Lord. And as a possession that has been consecrated, it rightfully belongs to the priest. If a field has been bought, and it is not from the possession of ancestors, it shall be sanctified to the Lord. The priest shall evaluate the price according to the number of years until the Jubilee, and the one who had vowed it shall give to the Lord. Then, in the Jubilee, it shall be returned to the former owner, the one who had sold it and who had held it within the lot of his possession. All estimation shall be weighed according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel has 20 abals. The firstborn, which belong to the Lord, no one is able to sanctify or vow, whether it is an ox, or a sheep, they are for the Lord. But if it is an unclean animal, whoever offers it shall redeem it, according to your estimation, and he shall add a fifth part to the price. If he is not willing to redeem it, it shall be sold to another for whatever amount it was estimated by you. All that is consecrated to the Lord, whether it is a man, or an animal, or a field, shall not be sold, neither is it able to be redeemed. Anything, once it has been consecrated, shall be the Holy of Holies to the Lord. And all that has been consecrated, which is offered by man, shall not be redeemed, but shall surely die. All the tithes of the land, whether from the grain, or from the fruits of trees, are for the Lord and are sanctified to him. But if anyone is willing to redeem his tithes, he shall add a fifth part to them. Out of all the tithes of oxen, and sheep, and goats, which cross under the rod of the shepherd, every 10th one that arrives shall be sanctified to the Lord. It shall not be chosen by what is good or bad, neither shall it be exchanged for another. If anyone has exchanged it, both that which was exchanged, and that for which it was exchanged, shall be sanctified to the Lord and shall not be redeemed. These are the precepts, which the Lord commanded Moses for the sons of Israel on Mount Sinai. Thank you for watching. If you like the content on this channel, please press subscribe, the like button or comment below. We'd love to get your tips. See you next time.